way. We've only got 15 minutes for this session, so thanks for coming. And today we're just going to talk about the Bug Smash initiative. So the Bug Smash initiative is a community initiative to address known bugs in Drupal 8, 9, 10, and core. So why do we start this? We started this to try and lower the amount of time that bugs are open and stop people having the feeling that bugs are ignored, and also to have an initiative based in the Eastern Hemisphere, because for you lucky folks that are at DrupalCon in the afternoon, it's 4 a.m. in the morning here, and pretty much most of core development initiatives happen while we sleep in this side of the world. So that was one of our drivers. And I don't know about you, but a lot of projects that I work on, we use composer patches, and the size of the composer.json file or your composer.patches.json file gets pretty big. And so our motivation is to, try and fix some of these issues that we probably should fix, rather than just leave them sitting there and running all these patches. So how many bugs has Drupal core got? Well, it's got a lot. These are the stats for Drupal 8, 9, and 10 combined. There's 7,500 nearly open bugs against Drupal core. Now this is just bugs, not features or tasks. And of those, over 1,000 of them are critical or major. 2,000 and a bit need work. 1,700 have a patch that needs review. Only 31 of them are RTBC at the moment, and there's been 16,000 fixed. So there's quite a lot of bugs and quite a lot of churn. And if we have a look at the open time for those bugs, this is when we started the initiative in May 2020. So yeah, a lot of them are around about 4 years and younger, but still a lot, like 1,000 in each. But there is a very long tail, and there are some bugs that are older than probably some people in this room. So how's it been going since we've started the Bug Smash initiative? Well, these charts you can follow along. Len has got this URL here where you can see the animation of how this has changed over time, but this is the starting point, and this is where we are almost a year later. So as you can see, we've made a bit of a dent there. Quite a few of those first bars are down under 1,000, and then there's some of the end of the tail that's dropped off. So what do we actually do with the initiative? And how do we smash bugs? Well, a lot of our work is actually triage. Out of those issues, a lot of the ones that we've closed have just been from breathing life into an old issue that hasn't had an update for a long time, that triggers the person who filed it to come along and say, well, it's not a bug anymore, or trying to reproduce it and realizing that this bug can't be reproduced in the current versions of core. It's, it may have existed in an earlier version. Updating the issue summary for easier review. So, a lot of the bug reports that we get, particularly prior to when we had the issue templates, they're missing a lot of information. So we update that information. We do reclassification of things. So, a lot of people default to opening issues as bugs, but sometimes it's actually a feature request or a task. And so that's a lot of the work. So yeah, there's a lot of triage, and we do more triage. We update the priority. So there's a lot of things that are filed as major and critical that aren't, and we drop them back. And look, we really don't use the minor category very much at all, the priority very much at all. And that's something we'd like to do more of. We close a lot of old outdated issues. We close a lot of duplicates. And we have been running some group triage. So this is a good way to get involved in core development if you haven't before. We've done a few via Google Meet, but more recently we've been doing them via Slack threads so that people can join after the fact. And yeah, we basically start an issue and the thread in Slack based on an issue, and try and work through that, get to resolution. And because that sort of triage work doesn't, if an issue gets closed as outdated or closed as duplicate, then there's really no record that you've worked on it in terms of the issue credit system. And I know that's important for people. So we have a fortnightly meta. And so if you've done triage during that fortnight, you get credit on that issue. You just comment on there and say, these are the issues that I've triaged. And at the end of the fortnight, once we have our meeting, someone marks that as fixed, and you get an issue credit. So another big part, as you saw before, there's nearly 1,700 issues that need review. So a big part of what we do is review, and reviewing is actually underappreciated and difficult skill to to master. And so we do have some veteran reviewers in the channel. We've got quite a few folks that have been doing reviews for a long time, and they're there to help guide people who are new to reviewing. But one of the most effective ways of getting reviews on an issue that you're keen on is to do a review swap. So we have a fair bit of emoji conventions in our channel. So if you start a thread with the recycled emoji, that kind of means you're looking for a review swap. And I would say that nearly most people who do that end up getting a review in return. So it has been a really good way to breathe some life into an issue that's been sitting there for a while. We also try and set targets. We have fortnightly meetings, and people can come in and say, look, they really want to help get this bug fixed, and we try to work together to do that. And it gives us something to focus on. And sometimes those things are based around theme. So, we did try and get rid of some of those long tail items in the chart earlier. So I know that Quiet One has closed up quite a few issues, and I think she's working from the oldest to the newest, because those make the statistics the most impact of the statistics. We also do mentoring. So we have the ambulance emoji where we say, look, I'm looking for some help here. What do I do next? And I think that's been a really great for lowering the entry level for new contributors. And there's been quite a few faces who I've seen in the channel that I hadn't recognized the username before, but now I see them regularly everywhere. And for me, that's probably the most rewarding part of this initiative, is that we see people who had been wanting to get involved and weren't sure where to start, and then they've kind of been given those guardrails and assistance, and now they're, when you drop into an issue and you see them absolutely smashing it, you think, oh, this is great. And you're probably aware that we don't accept patches for the bugs that don't have test coverage to prove that the bug is fixed. And so this is a real sticking point. There's a lot of issues that are tagged as needs test, and we have to have all the tests to go with it. So this is a good spot to come in if you need to have writing tests, along with the testing channel. And I see Moet's in the chat, and he's been absolutely smashing it. He's a bit like the test fairy. He's coming along and rescuing these old issues that are sort of stagnant, waiting for a test. And then we have another convention, which is to use the question mark emoji if you want some general help. So I would say 95% of these questions get answered, because it's just people who are not sure where to start, or they're not sure what the next approach would be on an issue. And this is these threads are a dropping off point for people to come up with the next step, and from that point we generally see the issue start moving. So I've got some more detailed stats here about what we've got to do since May 30, 2022. So these stats are accurate at the time I wrote these slides, which was 2 days ago. But yeah, since we started, there's been 1,024 bugs that have been marked as closed or closed fixed and tagged with the Bug Smash initiative. So we've got that 1,024 bugs we've smashed. Out of that, 242 were fixed. So as you can see, quite a lot of them, 3/4 were actually just closed as duplicate or closed as outdated. So, out of the 7,000 issues that we've got open, a lot of them are probably in the same boat. And if there's one thing you could take away from this session, that would be go back to the issue queue for core, filter it to bugs, filter it to issues that you created, and sort them by reverse date, so the last updated. And if there are issues that you created that are no longer relevant, close them off for us. And even better, if you tag with the Bug Smash initiative because I sent you there from this session, that'd be great. But yeah, we've been talking about ways to kind of surface those issues for people who filed something 6 years ago and forgot about it. And we hope to be able to bring some improvements in that space. But one thing's worth pointing out, that although this looks like we've only resolved 300 issues, or there's 300 net less issues in a year, there were 1,600 new bugs over that period. So there were actually 1,900 issues resolved in that period. Not all down to Bug Smash, but yeah, 1,600 bugs are opened a year, or roughly a year. So that's nearly 4 a day. So it's good. It sort of indicates the size and the health of our community. So yeah, I'd rather there were people interacting with the project than just crickets. So why would you want to contribute to this initiative? Well, it's in the Eastern Hemisphere. So if you're based in Asia or Australia or Hawaii, it's actually something in your time zone for a change. All of our communication is done in Slack threads that are asynchronous. So we're basically, we leave our meetings open for 24 hours, and we have people from Europe and North and South America come and join later. And then the meetings sometimes span over a day because there's back and forth. It's a supportive community. There's new and veteran contributors in the channel. There's core subsystem maintainers. There's a lot of things to help with, not just writing patches. So if you've been wanting to get involved, but you wanted to make non-code contributions, come on in. We'd love the help. It's a great way to earn karma. So if you come along into the channel and you've helped fix a few things, then when you need to ask for help about something, you've got some karma to spend there, and you're not just dropping in and being a vampire. And you can learn a ton of things through issue triage. There's parts of core that you didn't even know exists until you start working on these triage. And yeah, you do get a good feeling out of it. And so how you can help, these are some of the things that we would love help with. So triage, discussions, tests, fixes, bug reports, reviews, and more triage. So yeah, come and join us. It's a Bug Smash channel on Drupal Slack. We meet fortnightly on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock UTC, which is 2 p.m. in Australia, 11 a.m. in India. And yeah, there's basically the chat. As I said, the meetings are held open for 24 hours and sometimes span longer than that. Yeah, everyone welcome. And I'd like to put some special thanks out here for the people who've been instrumental in the initiative so far. Quiet One has been the rock that's held the initiative together. She's doing so much work with patches, so much work with a lot of the administrative parts of it. Pam has led a lot of the triage. Gibran's led a lot of the reviews. Mo, it's been prolific with tests. Len, Derek, and Kristen and Dave have just been generally awesome and been really helpful in mentoring. Griff and Gibran have helped run the meetings. Neil has provided us with statistics updates from this that you can't get from the public parts of Drupal.org. Guilherme and Paulo have, I think, been our most far-flung members, just joining in from Brazil each week where the time zone is crazy. And yeah, I've seen them everywhere through Cornell, which is great. So yeah, thanks for coming along, and we've got a little bit of time for questions. I'll just jump over into the chat. Pretty quiet there. So if there are any questions after the fact, yeah, jump into the Bug Smash channel. We're all friendly. Best place to start for a newbie would be finding something that impacts you. So if you've got a bug that's impacting you on your site, it's much easier to be invested in something that has an impact to you. It's much harder to get involved in some random bug from some other site that someone else is working on. If you haven't got a bug that particularly is impacting you and you're interested in getting started, I would say the triage part is a great way to get involved. And yeah, like trying to reproduce an issue that's from 4 years ago, and if you can, updating the issue summary to add the steps to reproduce. Sometimes just an issue hasn't been touched for 3 or 4 years, and the act of doing that reminds someone, sent a notification, and that's enough to breathe life into the issue. We've seen issues that were 14, 15 years old, all of a sudden become a flurry of activity.